Hello, everyone, and welcome to the career discrimination of LGBTQ plus individuals then and now. We are looking at the state of queer discrimination in Russia and the United States across the past 50 years because things may seem as though it's once upon a long time ago, but things are really coming full circle in the States and still very much present with issues all across the world. Our amazing presenter is Katerina. She is a business and career counselor and HR executive with 20 years of experience implementing successful HR strategies, talent development programs, and DEIB initiatives. Katerina, thank you so much for being here today and presenting on
Thank you
this
so
important
much.
topic.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. And thank you for this wonderful presentation. So always nice to hear something nice words about me. Thank you for having me. And yeah, today we're gonna talk about a really interesting topic. It's like parallels between um Russia today and the like history of the United States, like past 50, like 70 to 50 years in the United States, and how like queer community changed through these years. So, okay, let me start from here. And I want to start with some simple thing. So, first of all, for a lot LGBTQ plus people in Russia right now, uh, work isn't really about finding yourself or chasing your passion. It's about survival. So yeah, having a job means you can pay rent, um, you can support your family, you can see doctor, uh, and for some people you can even save money to get out. Yeah, because we have like war, and yeah, when discrimination pushes you out of certain sectors or out of employment altogether, it's just not about hurt feelings or unfairness. It becomes question of survival. And yeah, we we does have career counseling like in Russia. There are coaches, HRs, career consultants, nonprofits like coming out, and small dedicated groups who trying to help LGBTQ plus people navigate their career. And the story is not there is no career counseling in Russia. The story is there is counseling in Russia, but it takes place inside a rapidly intensifying system of repression. So that's a, it's not just a background noise. It becomes its own source of trauma, and which is layered, which is layered on the top of usual, uh, usual trauma that queer people are facing, like on everyday basis, like rejections from family, bullying in schools, constant shame, all of that. So what I, that's what I want to do in the next 15 minutes, like 15 to 20 minutes. So like give you a quick picture on Russian labor market right now, and show you what job search actually looks like for queer people in Russia in this context, and draw the short parallel with the United States in the 50s through the 70s. And then, if it's possible, to open up for conversation, because honestly, like I personally have a lot of questions what is happening right now in the United States, because yeah, we do see a lot of changes right now. So let me start. with a big picture, because this is a backdrop. Uh, this is like literally this is the water we're all swimming in, whether you queer or not. So first, we all need to understand that all the companies in Russia right now are in survival mode. So most organizations aren't growing. They are cutting costs. They're like optimizing processes. They're relocating resources, and they're trying to squeeze more out of what they already have. So the vibe actually is efficiency and risk management. So for job seekers, it means employers are more cautious um, about anything that looks like risk for them, and they are less willing to to deal with um, to deal with people not that don't fit easily to existing norms. Yeah, like especially like with the high visibility roles like customer service, sales representative, like yeah, like everything that we do understand, like people gonna like work with other people. So second, so there are labor shortages in some sectors, but they are not in friendly kind ones. So industries like manufacture, agriculture, defense, uh, they are all um, desperate for people, for workers. But here's the thing: uh, most of them are state linked, so, which means they're deeply conservative and they're not exactly welcoming to people who don't fit traditional gender or family norms. So yeah, there are jobs, but not for LGBTQ plus people, obviously. Third, yeah, corporate cultures varies widely. So even in the same industry, we can see completely different vibes. It might be old school companies with unspoken rules, like like how you how you have to talk, like how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to like behave, and younger, more flexible companies like I for example, like in IT, uh, who more open to diversity, let's say that. And for queer workers, that difference is everything. So the same job title in two different companies like that can mean the difference between I can breathe here and I'm scared every single day. So and finally, uh, discrimination itself is almost never explained. So because it's again Russian labor law, uh, and yeah, you're not gonna see in job description, uh, we're not hiring LGBTQ plus people. Uh, Instead of that, you're gonna see like we have a specific culture fit, like we have a specific cultural requirements. We're looking for someone more stable, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the landscape. That's the backdrop, and we have to deal with that every single time we work with the LGBTQ plus clients. And by the time, by the time LGBTQ plus like queer client comes to me for career counseling, with this backdrop, they already they usually already done a lot of self-editing to fit to this labor market. Uh, their CVs are stripped clean of anything queer related. Um, Even if they organized huge community events or if they led volunteer projects, if it's LGBTQ plus related, it's gone. Um, their social media locked down or like scrubbed. Um, Old photos, deleted, political posts gone. They even changed their they even changed their usernames. Can you imagine that? Um, they tried to be super careful on the interviews, not to mention their partners, ex, or like anything that might give them away. Because and it's not a tragedy. It's a real fear. Uh, People really, our clients really fear to be outed, not because, uh, not because, not because it's not appropriate. It's it's a real it's a real fear. Um, so let me briefly outline the legal developments you might have heard or might not have heard about. So in the late 2022, Russia expanded the so-called gay propaganda law to ban any positive or neutral information about non-traditional sexual relationship to any to people of any age, which has led which has led um, which has led to removal of books, films, online content, like anything related to queer, LGBTQ plus, anything, and has directly affected the economic opportunities of LGBTQ plus artists, educators, activists, like everyone. The updated Foreign Agents Law has made it much easier to label any organization and individual as a foreign agent, especially if this person or organization works or work with human rights, the AI, or receive any foreign fundings, like any non-profit organizations that work with LGBTQ plus people in Russia. And finally, in November 2023, the Supreme Court of Russia declared international LGBTQ plus movement in all its structural units, whatever that means, an extremist organization, which means any activity or symbol associated with LGBTQ plus can fall under anti-extremist legislation. So the result is police raids on LGBTQ plus venues, cultural spaces, businesses, etc. Closure to any queer like friendly spaces, and very real fear of criminal charges and prison sentences. So when our clients sits in front of us, our client sits in front of us and says, "I'm afraid," then they're not irrational. It's a really real fear. So they're living in a system where being associated, even associated with the LGBTQ plus organization, can be framed as extremist activity, and where employers are scared to be seen as extremist supporters simply by having someone like openly queer as an employee, or like having any LGBTQ plus related content. So the like that's the reality we have, and in this reality we have to work as a consultants. So it's and it's not all. So for most of our clients, it's not the only one problems. There are layers. So most of them are living in small towns, where almost no jobs at all, and a lot of everyday hostility. So most of them, a lot of people do not have savings at all and do not have any family support. Some of them actively running from abusive families or abusive environment. Some of them like dealing with depression and anxiety, which gets worse under like constant stress, obviously. And some of them already survived uh, survived violence at homes, at schools, at work, on the streets, and even from police. So every career decision in this condition carries extra weight. So instead of asking what would makes me happy, what would gives me more money, they're asking like, if I leave this toxic job, uh, can I still can I still afford my meds or something like that? So the math is just different. Safety first, everything else is like secondary. And yeah, a few years ago, all the questions we had were pretty normal, like how to do I switch my careers, how do I make more money, um, should I start my business, like that. So it was pretty normal, pretty familiar. And in the last couple of years, especially as things have gotten worse, all the questions have shifted to like, what can I do if my idea doesn't match my doesn't match how I look? Um, how do I find my like any job to be able like how do I like to be able to afford my living, like to be able to get out from a country? How do I like earn anything like to be able to support my family? So it's less about like planning a career, planning your like um chasing your dreams, right? It's more about crisis management, and it's still counseling, but the horizon has gotten less shorter, a lot shorter. So, and to help make sense of all this, I want to draw the quick parallel between Russia today and like United States story, especially like the 50s through the 70s, because honestly, a lot of what's happening right now in Russia has happened before. So we do know for the most of the 20th century, many states had laws that made same sexual intimacy a crime, and some of those laws stayed on books until 2003. In 50s, for example, there was something called Lavender Scare. Correct me if I'm wrong. So thousands of people suspected of being gay were investigated and fired from governmental jobs. Um, they were framed. They were framed as a security risks and moral threats. Pretty familiar, right? And until 1973, the American Psychiatric Association officially declared homosexuality as a mental disorder. So just in Russia today, the state and major institution back in 50s were saying LGBTQ plus people are dangerous, sick, or criminal. They used laws and policies to push queer people out of public life. And being openly queer person was basically incompatible with a lot of jobs. And yeah, there was a Stonewall riots, and which often talked about like turning point. But even in 70s, teachers, militaries, uh, personal civil servants, a lot of people could lose their jobs, even they like were outed, and many LGBTQ plus people had to move to more um, tolerant niches like hospitality, small businesses, like entertainment. Um, they had to switch their career because there were queer people. Um, and yeah, for those of us who's working in Russia, that history is a reminder. Now, what we're seeing right now isn't unprecedented. It doesn't just um, individual like it doesn't just affected individual lives. It's kind of like shapes entire labor markets and career paths. So that's kind of like history repeating itself. So yeah, I'm possibly I'm gonna stop right here because yeah, you guys, you have your own history, and yeah, you have your own present. And United States has been there's been this long arc from criminalization to decriminalization, from exclusion to the to formal protection. Uh, there was a rise of DEI, corporate prides, employee resources groups, a lot of good initiatives that support uh, um, that supports LGBTQ plus people uh, incorporate word and even now I I personally see a backlash, and I can like I see news that there is new restrictions, and especially around like trans rights. And I'm really curious to hear from you um, what is happening right now. I have couple of questions that uh, I want to ask, and if you don't mind, and I would be really appreciate if you can share your experience, your thoughts, your reactions, um, and maybe we can like start a conversation, or you can send us your thoughts after uh, this seminar, this talk. So there's the question. The first, it's all about the AI and what is happening right now in workplaces today. How do how do you see the state of the AI and LGBTQ plus inclusion right now in your organization and in your field? Is it still moving forward, maybe holding steady, or maybe quietly shrinking? And how stable do LGBTQ plus friendly policies feel under political or social pressure? Second, about fears uh, your employees or clients are bringing in. So, what kind of fears or constraints are LGBTQ plus people talking about? Do you hear any echoes, even softer ones, that of the fears I've just described, like I've talked about the history that's repeated or not repeated? When you think about your past, the criminalization, lavender scare, pathologization. Do you see any of that coming back? Where does it feel like we've been here before? And where does it feel like fundamentally different? And finally, about learning across the borders from your experience and your history, what do you think might be useful or inspiring for people doing this work in places like Russia? And there are there any ways to share knowledges or to show any solidarity or support that feel realistic right now? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna stop here. And thank you so much for listening. Um, I'm ready to hear from you and your thoughts and maybe your questions.
Thank you so much for presenting on such an important topic. I mean, I can answer. If somebody else wants to jump in before me, though, um, and share their experiences. Um, I think this is the importance on really learning about how history repeats itself. And it's one of those situations where, you know, especially in the States, why should we care about some group over there, over the seas, when we have people in our own backyard who are having the same issues? Well, because history is repeating itself. And this is what happens, and why we need to, as a collective, as a global community, stand together. Because, yes, it's Russia today, but we're seeing everything shifting in the United States and in other countries as well. And so when we are siloed and just saying, oh, it's that person's problem, it's that country's problem, it's that community's problem, it's not. This is why we need to have these conversations and work together. And so I really, really appreciate all those questions to really start to think about the importance of having that united front as, again, that global community. I don't know if anybody else wants to share in before I keep going, because I can ask questions all day for sure. So that's fine. I have no problem asking questions. Okay, so I just wanted to pick up a little bit. There's two questions that I really stuck out to me. And you talked about the self-editing to fit the mold of what businesses are not only looking for maybe from their own moral perspective, but also from the legal perspective and the fear of the ramifications and the backlash that they will be getting from the state if they are even hiring and therefore aligning with someone who self-identifies as somewhere on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. How do you still find jobs for individuals when there has been all of this self-editing and there is this fear? How do you still find those jobs?
That's a good question. So, uh, the problem is, the problem is that sometimes we're uh, we need to we have to actually we have to deal with we have to deal with the thing that with the knowledge that most of the jobs like on-site jobs uh impossible for queer people in this state. So especially if they're like for trans people. I have a lot of clients who's already like um, changed their identity, so but not change their IDs, and they cannot like start working in the office like physically. And we need to we're trying to find them online, something uh, as anonymous as possible. Maybe a contract job, maybe something like a seasonal job, which where it's possible not to be present on like in the office, not to be visible, or and where it's possible to be uh, like to minimize the contacts with the like coworkers. It's exhausted. Not everyone, not anyone, like not everyone is like happy to be isolated. Um, but the thing is, we're like as I said before, safety first. So we always think about safety, and we always think about what would be better for the client, what would be better for his for their health, their like future, what will bring them more stability, and only after we're gonna think about their like career, their like passion, and their maybe um ambitious. Let's say that.
You mentioned about starting a business. Is that something that is safe to do? I mean, because in theory, you're able to, but because you still have to register and you still have to file the, okay, yes.
That's the tricky part. Uh, Instead, like when you're in States, it's easier to start your own business because here here in the United States, when you're starting your own business, you by your own. So nobody will like look at you. You're absolutely independent, and government will like notice you only when you're paying taxes. But in Russia, when you're starting your own business, you're like under total control. And being an entrepreneur in Russia, it's really, really hard. That's first. Second, to be an entrepreneur in Russia, it takes a lot of fundings and a lot of money to start a business, especially if you live somewhere like in small town, whereas you have to find a lot of clients and it's really hard to find a market. So that's kind of really um, that's that's almost impossible sometimes to simply find a market for yourself. What are you going to do? That's that completely different. This completely two different markets, two different countries. And me personally, when I came here first, uh, it was like that to open up the business here.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours. It took me 2 hours. In Russia, I spent uh 3 months going around like different institutions, talking to different people, and like yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
I'm
Just yeah,
I'm really glad you clarified that because I think from an American audience perspective, because you just highlighted how different things are, it's just, well, just start your own business, become a virtual assistant, do, you know, sell something, drop shipping. So, and really highlighting that it's not that easy. The other
that's
question,
completely different. Yeah, unfortunately, because a lot of our clients, like especially in queer community, a lot of clients they're like artistic. They're more about arts and more about like community based, or maybe like they trying to support. They have a lot of abilities to like counseling as well, but trying to start something, trying to make money of it, that's that's kind of challenge.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but that leads me to my next question. You know, you still have to, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you still have to have a roof over your head. You still need to be able to eat. You need to still have clothes on your
Right.
back. So
Yeah.
what do you do then when you can't just start a job? You can't just go and get a traditional role. How many times is it that clients are then driven to other, maybe more illegal activity, drug selling, sex work, things that are much riskier because you're not able to go into the traditional means? How does that look?
So we never advise to do illegal activity, first of all. So we always stay in legal field. Uh, but uh, to right jobs like some kinds of hospitality field, there is like we still have in Russia queer friendly places like um, coffee shops, like something I don't know, uh, queer friendly venues, or some hospitality venues, some hospitality places, or like event venues, where always um, they're desperate for seasonal workers. So that's the opportunity. Also, there is a lot of online jobs, like uh, online markets, like kind of Amazon. Yeah, whereas you need just your computer and internet connection. So that's low payment jobs. That's really not that much money. So it's possibly, let's say that to $7 per hour, possibly. But it's still enough money to buy food. It's still enough money to pay minimum rent, or at least you can pay like for a room somewhere, but you can live somewhere. So we can we never advise people to do illegal activity, but we can we can find something, some jobs, or at least some seasonal job, or we can advise to look for um how say it to look for mm, remind me this word. um this might be not a job, but maybe uh
Are you referring to
uh
per diem work? So you go in for a
yeah,
day?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like day work, maybe.
Yeah.
So there is like kind of, there are opportunities. Sometimes the problem is when you live in a small town and you keep seeing every day on everyday basis that there is a big corporation with the big jobs and people like sitting in the office working 9 to 5 on everyday basis. So they don't even know about other opportunities. They don't understand that there are different kind of jobs. So our job is to show them different perspectives. Okay, so you don't need to go to the office. Let's try to see, okay, so that's your city, that's your town. What do you have? You have a library. So that's library have the open like positions like librarian, or like I don't know, like some kind of office worker, or maybe like helper, or whatever you have. So let's try this. Yes, that's the minimum wage. Yeah, that's like salary not that high like you want to, but at least you will get some money. As for the start, you will get this job easily, and then you can start to find something else. So that's the kind of that's the progress. That's the strategy. We'll show them how to build a strategy to survive.
That's good
So,
that it's not doom and gloom because that's what I was thinking of. It's just,
so we clarify them the path. So it's not because sometimes it's like the fog in their minds.
yeah, yeah. And this is why it's so important to really have the resources because you have
Yeah,
so many people coming to you desperate to survive. And you
yeah.
need
So
to,
so problem is, sorry for interrupting. So
no,
problem
it's okay.
is for us because we're that's a volunteering job for us,
Yes.
and we are like consultants. We have like full-time jobs, and to be able um, to do these important jobs, we need time, we need fundings to like for to like to be able um, to work here. Yeah, to we need fundings to hire more people as a consultant, like as a counselors, because sometimes, like for example, right now, I have two clients that desperately need right now to talk to me personally, but I have no time till the late of December, simply because and we have no one, and we need more we need more people. We need we, we need fundings for that, unfortunately.
Yes. Because this is important work for survival. Yes.
And those people like and there's no one else to help them. That's the problem.
And how many people are trying to access your services?
There's a lot of like, I mean, I receive every week, I receive 3 to 4, um, requests, possibly. Yeah, like few hundreds every year.
Yeah,
So
yes. And again, it's about survival.
it's
So,
about so like if they came already came to us, that's the final.
mhm,
Yeah, that's we are the final resort for them. So
mhm.
possibly they already struggled enough, suffered enough, and tried everything else.
Yes. Thank you so much for the important work that you do. And this is why we need these resources. We need to be able to help more people to help survive. So this is very, very important to get the funding to be able to help, again, our global community. Katerina, thank you so, so much. Does anybody else have any questions in the audience? I know I monopolized a lot of the questions. Any other thoughts? Well, thank you so, so much. And again, thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.